want, what you want. What you want. Come on. What you want, what you want. Come. What you want. Come on. What you want.
Marry me, witches!
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Bloody Book Club, the bloodiest, bookiest club there is.
It's pretty bloody.
And it's spooky season now, so... Oh yeah, get in here, Kayla.
Here we are.
Oh wait, dude, are our things on the wrong side?
Oh, they
That's
are!
awesome. That's just awesome, is what it is. I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Gory B Movie.
I'm Killer Kayla.
Which you wouldn't know that from looking at the thing, but
No.
I'm gonna fix that really quick. September's book is what we're talking about today, but it's October now, which is the best time of year, spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna kick it off right by talking about a spooky book with creepy dolls in it.
I think that this was probably the scariest book we've read.
See, I think that's really funny because when we went into this, I saw a lot of people complaining that it wasn't that scary. And I'm like, I think if you're afraid of dolls, it is absolutely scary.
Super scary.
I'm not really someone who's afraid of dolls, but Danny is afraid of, like, Muppets.
Yeah.
And I could 100% see him getting creeped out by this book.
I wouldn't say that I'm afraid of dolls, but, I mean... They're so scary. Like, I can still find them scary when the time is right. These were creepy. This was creepy. And it wasn't just the doll, though, because there's
so much going on.
Entities at play here.
There's a lot going on. So I'm going to give you a spoiler-free synopsis for the book. Let's head on over to our library.
Ooh,
so fancy here.
Here we are.
So this one's book was How to Sell a Haunted House by one of my favorite modern authors, Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix has written a lot of my favorite books of the last decade, and I love that all of his books, at least that I've seen, do something crazy with the print cover, so it's worth getting. The first one I ever read of his was Horror Store, which it's kind of like an IKEA catalog.
Yeah.
And then you open it up and, at first it's all normal, like there's tables and chairs. And then because it's about kind of an IKEA store that was built on a prison, then they start to become like torture implements. And it makes the book more immersive.
That's fun.
My favorite of his books was My Best Friend's Exorcism. They made a movie of this. I wasn't crazy about the movie. But, it came out on, I think, Amazon Prime. Okay. But the book is fantastic, and this book looks like
a yearbook.
A high school yearbook.
That's so cool.
I did look for this one to see if they did something, and they have kind of the program for the funeral inside of it, and they also have, like, advertisements for one of the characters' mom's business. So just little fun things. I guess a Retro Media Man saw the doll move.
Oh.
That happens.
No, I didn't see it.
It happened.
Which one was it, Tiffany? Or
Which one was it? I've heard that about Tiffany here before. It could happen.
I don't like it.
It could happen.
I don't like it.
Oh, I was trying to bring up our chat highlight, but we're not having any luck with that. Oh, well.
So, How to Sell a Haunted House.
So, in a nutshell,
Yeah.
a spoiler-free nutshell, this book is a lot about like families and dolls. So you have this family, and I thought their family was really, really cute. They basically explained that their parents didn't have a lot of money. You know, they didn't have cable TV and stuff when they were kids. So their mom made puppets and put on little shows for them, and they were such a hit that she ended up doing it for her church, and that kind of became her career and something that she really, really enjoyed. Starting with the doll she grew up with, Pepkin. So unfortunately, at the beginning of this book, we find out that our main character, Louise, well, first she becomes a mom, and then in the next chapter, it's been about 6 years, and her mother has passed away. She found out that her mom and dad passed away. They were killed in a car accident.
Yeah.
So now she needs to go back home and deal with, you know, funeral arrangements and everything, and her brother that she's not really close to. They don't get along at all. And they need to figure out what to do with the house and what to do with their parents, you know, saying goodbye to them and stuff. And of course it doesn't go well. And to make matters worse, the house is haunted.
Yeah. So how are they going to deal with all that?
How are they going to deal with that? I don't know.
And each other.
So that was the spoiler-free synopsis. But this book is crazy because it keeps twisting and twisting. And I feel like I saw a lot of reviews on Goodreads where people were like, I can't read this. I just can't. You know what? You have to push through, because I think we both felt the same way at the beginning.
Yes. The characters are difficult, but it's kind of what makes them real. It puts you like in the nightmare. I think one of my review of it was very realistic. Like all of their reactions to the situation that they're dealing with were very realistic. Even Mark, as much as I hated him, couldn't never behave the way he behaved, but I got why he behaved the way he behaved. And Louise too, like, you know, she's like built this life for herself and she's not ready to let any of it go. And you know, things come in that might threaten what she has. But she kind of sucks too. Like they both kind of suck.
She's really controlling, and
Yeah.
I like that I like when the book doesn't take a side, because like, you know, Louise is the main character, and I think naturally because we're in her head the most, we relate to her. But like one of the points early on where I'm like, you're a monster.
Yeah.
She, without even being there, tells her little girl that her grandma died.
Yeah.
And doesn't tell her anything to help her deal with it.
Yeah.
And then like the girl's with her, you know, father, and they're not together. And he's like, wait, thanks for just dropping this in my lap. And then, you know, leaving, you know, and she's like expecting this 6-year-old to perfectly grasp and understand death, and is a little alarmed when her daughter starts crying all the time, starts acting like a baby. And yeah, she can't deal with it. She's worried that her parents are going to die. She goes through this whole thing, and this is why we say things to children that maybe we don't believe, that you go to a better place, or why we, you know,
or they're just sleeping. Like, depending on the age of your child, like, you handle death differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that's why children live in kind of a different world. And I know lots of people who are like, oh, I'm not going to tell my kids about Santa Claus because it's lying to them. Like, that's not lying to them.
No.
Children live in a different kind of reality than we do. And I think meeting them on where they're at intellectually
and creating a
and
world of
emotionally.
magic for them too
Yeah.
is important, which is the way I feel about Santa. I believed in
Yeah.
Santa till I was 13. My mom like worked on the Santa front, and I was devastated when I found out Santa wasn't real. But I look back on those first 13 years of my life so fondly.
Yeah, it's the only time in your life where things like that can be real. And this book packs in so much. Like, for a lot of authors, I'd be like, you're trying to do a lot. And this book deals with, like, kind of the magic of childhood, when you believe that your stuffed animals are real and mom and dad need to kiss them goodnight and stuff. But also the scary things, because you believe monsters are real, too. And it's just, it does so much, and it does it really, really well. This book becomes so many different books, and it does it so seamlessly. Like, I get where people want to kind of quit at the beginning. She goes to the house, and essentially it seems like her brother only cares about maybe getting some money from the house, like selling the house, and he's being a total callous asshole. But later on, we learn more about the characters. We learn that, you know, Louise isn't perfect, and we learn that he has a lot of reasons for being as angry as he is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he didn't even tell her, though. The book starts off immediately. He waited like 2 days to tell her that they even died. So that immediately put me off on the wrong foot with him. I was like, why would you wait so long? Like, that's rude.
Yeah.
That's really, that made me mad to start off. I was like, I already don't like him.
The way he handled the inheritance really pissed me off.
Oh my God.
Essentially, he's kind of a mama's boy, and their dad had it in his will that everything goes to the daughter Louise, and because he trusted her to handle like it and make sure her brother's taken care of.
Yes.
But because technically, I guess their mom died first.
Yeah.
She willed everything to her son and basically wrote her a letter saying, sorry, but he doesn't have anything. You know, he doesn't have a family or nothing. But of course, he's very immature and he lords it over her. Like, well, it's my house and I'm going to sell everything. He's just like, she was going to split it with him.
Yeah.
She was going to make sure he was taken care of. And he's not even offering to help her out.
He was like, this is all mine. Get out. Yeah. But then she was,
the dolls are moving, apparently.
No, they're not moving.
That's what they say.
What was I going to say? Oh, she was allowed the art.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so their mom, and this book, I kind of felt attacked. Not gonna lie, because I am a mom, and I'm a mom who I like being kind of weird. I would tell my kid a lot of funny stories just because I liked, I like make-believe, and I like having fun, and I nothing to traumatize him, but... like one time he told me a ghost story about a ghost that lived on a chocolate chip cookie, and I'm like, yeah, maybe that's real, maybe. Like just having imagination and building forts and stuff. Like I love that stuff. Yeah. And I am somebody who plays with toys and stuff and is goofy, and Louise did not appreciate it. She did to a certain age, and then she was like, nope. She thought her mom was kind of immature and needed to be the center of attention and stuff.
Part of that could have been because of what she went through, though. Yeah,
so we can't get into that because it's a big, big spoiler. But there is, you learn more about these characters. You learn why Louise is the way she is. She had a pretty significant event in her childhood. Why the mom is the way she is. Why the brother, like a lot of these people have these things, and I think like it's just the author has a great understanding of humans because a lot of people like. You're not just born an asshole. No. Like, and a lot of the characters in this, some of them are difficult and stuff, and some of that's just probably part of their personality, but a lot of times we don't know the whole picture. Yeah.
Everybody's just, fighting their own battle and defends themselves and protects themselves in a way that they think is reasonable. And even Mark, who I couldn't stand throughout the book for most of the time, when you learn more about, like, what he had gone through, I was like... I can see how as a human he ended up where he did.
So I listened to the audiobook of this one. It's really easy for me to listen to audiobooks while I do my job at work. And I really liked it. My only complaint, the author, the narrator did a fantastic job, except for sometimes she pronounced Louise. Like, it was very inconsistent. I'm like, girl, what's going on here?
Pickling.
I really like that there is one chapter that is from the brother's point of view, where he's kind of giving his perspective of what happened to them as children. And that is by a person who has the same last name as the other narrator. So I wonder if they're like married or siblings in real life, which is kind of cool. But they both did a great job. And I liked even that, too, to show like how it's different when we're the main character. If he was the main character of this book, it would be a completely different book.
Oh, 100%.
And I also love, Grady Hendrix is from the South. And they go to the South, and she's got that family of just big, strong, protective Southern women, and they keep their secrets, and they protect each other even after, after death.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. There's a couple times where you wanted to strangle them.
Yes.
But I really, really like them. I like her cousin, who is a realtor, and she's going to help sell the house. And she's like, yeah, but I can't help you because it's haunted.
Yeah, you're going to have to fix that first.
Yeah, just like no nonsense. Like, the house is haunted. You need to deal with that. Yeah. And Louise is like, no way. And the characters have fantastic arcs in this, too. Yeah. Like, Louise does not believe in anything supernatural at the end. She has no choice to by the end of the book.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, we got the Dude Brothers from New Orleans. Is that how you guys say it, or New Orleans? I've heard both. I've never been there, so I am by no means an expert.
I'd love to go.
Me too. So yeah, I really love that just because it's a slice of America that
Yeah.
I have not experienced. So it's fun to see, and I like their family dynamic and stuff, and yeah, I really like the family.
What's the aunt's name? Like Honey or something like that?
Goodness, I honestly can't remember right now.
I think it's something cute.
There's
Southern like
she
that.
has her mom's sister, and then there's like a great aunt.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then her mom, it was like her mom's aunt.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
you know the family has dealt with a lot of stuff too. Her mother, the one that passed away, she had a little brother who died when she was really little, and then after that, she was kind of shipped off to go live with her aunt.
Yeah,
who's
she was
still
kind of
alive.
shipped around to the rest of her family.
Yeah,
because
they couldn't deal.
Yeah, which would be.
Dude Brother
so
says
hard.
both are correct. So there you go.
New Orleans or
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
No.
New Orleans.
If I pronounced it horribly, I'm going to use I moved here from England as my excuse.
I don't have an excuse. Well, I mean, I've never been. That's my excuse.
I want to go though.
Me too. I want
Especially
to.
when you read like a book set there, like Interview with the Vampire. Just
Ooh, yeah.
I like places that have a lot of culture, and I feel like the
Yeah.
South has a lot of culture and a lot
I want
of
to
secrets.
eat a lot of breads, like beignets, right?
Yes.
But I'm allergic to shellfish, so there's a lot I can't eat.
That's awful shellfish of you.
It's not on purpose to be so shellfish, but and you can have sausages. I like a good like Cajun sausage, you know.
We should take the book club down there sometime.
We should. That'd be really
should.
great.
Should.
Yeah.
So this book has a lot of twists and turns, and it's really interesting because the mom collected dolls. She also has all these puppets she made, and weird art and stuff too. Like her daughter hates it, but like, you know, she's like, and this was her mom's phase, and that kind of reminded me of my mother, who like, you know, she went through a scrapbooking phase and then a drill bit phase, and I think stuff like that's really cool. I like.
You gotta have a hobby. You gotta keep it fresh. It's fine.
But Louise not feeling it.
Well, because that's all she was bequeathed in the will was the mom's art. So she decides to like irritate Mark more. She's like, I have to take my time. I have to inventory everything. I have to catalog it. Like I have to go through it, and then
including the taxidermy squirrel nativity. There was parts in this book where I like was laughing so fucking hard that I had to like put the book down. Like there's a part where, I mean, naturally, you know, there's gonna be dolls that come to life, and at one point the nativity dolls come to life, and there is zombie taxidermied Jesus squirrel at the end of the bed, and I'm about dying. I am
this
dying.
isn't really happening.
Also, I don't know if it was intentionally funny, but every time they talked about the place where you put your hand in the puppet hole,
the puppet hole.
could not breathe. I was just like
the puppet hole.
laughing like an idiot alone listening to this book.
I don't know how.
Hey HCF, what up?
I thought that the scariest part of the whole book was actually Spider.
See, and that's one thing I love about this too, is kids have such insane imaginations. Like my son came up with a ghost story, but a ghost that lived in a chocolate chip in a cookie. Like adults don't come up with stuff like that, which is cool about kids. Well, they can't have a dog as children, so her brother came up with Spider,
an imaginary dog who whatever his breed was kept changing. Like he was like a mishmash Frankenstein dog. And you get to meet him at one point, and
he has six. He has like 6 legs.
Yeah.
He's a dog, but he's so many different things.
Yeah, and
he's not cute and fluffy like my
No.
spiders.
No, he was so scary.
He is scary.
That part I thought was the scariest part of the whole book.
There's and I'm surprised a lot of people said this book wasn't scary enough. I think for some people, when something's funny, they're like, well, that takes away the horror for them. And this book is really fucking funny.
Yeah.
But it's really creepy too. A lot of times, like, you know, there's just a lot of dolls. There, like, her mom got these 2 dolls that look like her and her brother. That creeped me out a lot.
Mark and Louise dolls.
And they move and stuff. I didn't like that. But the other thing too, like I had the whole gambit here. I laughed out loud. I was nearly in tears by the end of the book.
Yeah.
Just because it's heartwarming, but also really, really sad. And there are parts in this book that I think are genuinely scary.
I
and I
agree.
think that's a feat for my dog is driving me crazy.
Do they want to come inside?
I think so.
Hopefully it's not like
Andrew, would
Spider.
you like, both of you. Both of you.
Oh, buddy.
Hi, sweetheart. You be
Hi,
careful.
babies. Hi, everybody.
All right. They want to be part of the book club.
Hi. Hi.
Hello, children.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying not to give you a lot of spoilers,
Yeah.
but essentially, this is a paranormal novel, but it does it so gradually because it's kind of treating you, the reader, like you're Louise, like you are completely skeptical, and you don't really know what's going on. There's something creepy going on in the house.
Yes.
The dolls are moving around. I was actually surprised if you are on our book club discussion pretty early on. I had my guess for what was going on.
You were spot
I was
on.
right.
You were spot on.
It's crazy.
I think I mentioned it in my review, and I definitely thought it while I was reading it that when it switches like halfway through when they're in the diner, I was like, this is the most realistic reaction to what's happening that I've ever seen anywhere. Like Louise's reaction, she's just like
Shut down.
like, am I losing my mind? Like, what's really going on here? And I really liked that. I thought that was really well written, and I felt like that's how anybody would react.
I forgot about that. There's a
Yeah.
flashback in this book. That's the scariest part of the book.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That is terrifying. Mark's
is
part
really
of his flashback where he's basically part of like a puppet theater troupe, and they wear like the heads and stuff, but essentially
They're like they're a puppet troupe, but they have like an agenda.
Yeah.
Like they're like
They're
revolution
political and stuff, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially it gets really paranormal and scary and wow.
Yeah. That
Like,
part was really
that could be its
really
own
upsetting.
book. That part I think was the
Uh-huh.
scariest part for
I
me.
agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, that was really scary.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I liked this book. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. I definitely think it was the scariest of all the books we've read so far.
I have to think about that. I'm having trouble remembering what the other books are.
Do you want me to pull up a list?
What are the other books we've read? Well, it's scarier than the vampire one.
The vampire.
Yeah, it probably
was
is
not
the
scary.
scariest. Probably is the scariest one we've read.
We read.
I've read some other books this year that
I mean,
are scary.
Cabin at the End of the World hit me hard because that one was like upset, like crazy. We're in Every Generation, Meddling Kids, Clown in a Cornfield. Clown in a Cornfield
had some parts.
had some parts in it that were pretty terrifying. She is a Haunting, This Delicious Death, and Fairy Tale.
Yeah, it's the scariest book we've read. It's the funniest book we've read. I think it's the most moving book we've read too. And I really like books that use horror and humor to explore some things that are really intense. And I'm not the kind of person who for fun wants to read about grief and family drama.
Yeah.
But this book finds a way to explore that in a fun way.
Yeah, in a way that doesn't make you feel like you feel like you're in it in a way that like you're really immersed in the story. But like when we read in Nightfall, no, not in Nightfall, Night's Edge.
We didn't read that for book club, but
We did read it. Like that book was really, like heavy. Like it showed that family trauma in a way where I was like, I don't want to be here. Right?
Yeah,
I didn't feel that way reading this
finished
book.
American Psycho, and like I remember when I was done, I'm like, I am so happy to not be in Patrick
don't wanna
Bateman's
be
head anymore. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And I think Grady Hendrix, like literary wise, is kind of the equivalent of Jordan Peele. Like he can deal with really deep, dark stuff, but he is also really good at humor, and he knows when to. Okay, now we're gonna lighten it up again, and when we go back down to something dramatic or scary, it hits harder.
Yeah.
You know, so I think, I think this book is really, really good at that.
I agree.
But yeah, I thought it was really scary, especially if you're afraid of dolls and puppets. But it was really moving too, and I feel like this book had a lot of important things to say about not just death, but mostly like what it means to be alive while we're alive, and
Kind of taking control over your own life.
yeah, and then also family. You may not get the people in your life that are in your family, but what like unconditional love is for your family. How the people in your family can drive you fucking crazy, but at the end of the day, a lot of times, you know, I'm not saying for everybody because that's not true, but with a lot of family members, that the ones who are, I'm talking about the ones who are annoying, not the ones who are just like toxic and evil.
Yeah.
But with those kind of family members, when you really need them, they're there.
They're there. Like when it comes down to it, like we have each other's back. And whether
Yeah.
you build that or you're born into it,
Yeah.
like, doesn't really matter. Like, this is...
Same with your, like, your found
Yeah.
family and stuff. They can drive you crazy, but when push comes to shove and you really need each other, they're there. Like, she never sees her cousins, but they are completely there for her. Like, of
Yeah.
course we'll help you. Your family. And she's
Yeah.
kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because she has to do everything herself.
Well, and I think that's part of, like, her, like, living away from them, too. Like, she lives on the other side of the country, but Mark does live there, at least part-time or something.
Mhm.
And so, but when she comes back, like, they all kind of just fall into their spots, and they love each other, except for, you know, Mark, you know. But
And I think it also talks, you know, because she's a mom, too, and she's trying to do it completely by herself. And the book, I feel like, has a lot of wisdom in it. How, like, the people in our lives who are really fucked up, they have a slice of something to offer that next generation. Like, by doing it yourself, you're not going to do it right completely. You might think you've read all the books and you've got it figured out, like she does. She's like, I'm not going to do this. And she still traumatizes her damn kid.
Yeah.
That kid does need its father. It does need her uncle. She does need her crazy aunts, because they all have little slices of wisdom
Yeah.
and, you know, talents and things to give her that are going to make her a more fulfilled person.
yeah, like, she thinks she's protecting her daughter by, like, keeping her away from all of
Yeah.
that. But in the end, it causes more harm. It really does take a whole village to save
Yeah.
and raise a child.
So
Yeah.
that's like keeping you guys in the dark. I will say, I mean, I should probably cover some basic trigger warnings. I mean, I already told you that her little brother died when she was a kid. They do talk about that a lot. So he's 6.
So there's some
child death.
for sure.
That part gets a little heavy, especially when we get into flashbacks. And violence against children. There's some
Yeah.
pretty scary things that happen to them when they were children that are
Yeah.
really, really scary.
I don't know. Dolls. It's a lot of dolls. A lot of dolls.
But I love this. Honestly, I am a massive Grady Hendrix fan. I've loved honestly, the one book of his where I'm like, it was okay, was The Final Girls, which I thought that would be like, I was like, dude.
It's so funny. I watched this other girl's YouTube channel talking about this exact same books because I wanted to, like, get another idea for it, and that's the one that she was like, love Grady Hendrix, didn't like that one. Everybody's got to have a miss, though.
The premise of it
So-
is so good. You have, like, the Final Girls of all these great
Yeah.
franchises, and they're in a group together. That one, I feel like maybe he didn't balance it as well. Like, it had so many opportunities for humor, but it's pretty heavy. It kind of wears you out a lot. Just the balance
Yeah.
wasn't as good in that book, and the ending's a little convoluted. The ending of this one gets crazy, but I never felt like it was convoluted.
No, it was just
It's a
really
lot.
action packed, and sometimes in reading action like that, it's kind of hard to, like, track. I gotta see this.
I would love to see this as a movie.
I would too. I hope that it gets adapted, but he's got other books and everybody loves him, so I can't imagine this would be the first thing.
Well,
To be
my best friend's
adapted.
exorcism
Oh,
got
yeah,
adapted.
that's
I
true.
didn't really
That's
care for the adaptation, and Final Girl Support Group is getting a TV series.
Okay.
Up until this point, my favorite was My Best Friend's Exorcism. But I've loved everything I've read of his, and I haven't read everything. We need to read the Southern Book Club's Guide to Hunting Vampires.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like,
What we love.
we're a book
Yeah.
club.
Yeah.
We need to read that. But so far, this is my favorite of his books, and it's my favorite book of this year.
You can't
Which
even see your earrings
I have little
Yeah.
Koopy dolls.
with knives.
Yeah. It's my favorite book of the year. It's my favorite Grady Hendrix book, and the competition was tough. I've read some pretty good books this year. Knight's Edge was one of my top ones, and I read a book that's a little bit older called, why is my brain not working? Head Like a Hole. I loved that one too, but this one knocked him out and is the first place by far, just because the
Nice.
whole, I think we go to entertainment, music, books, anything, because you want to feel something, and this book makes you feel all of the things.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I liked it. I genuinely liked it. It wasn't my favorite, but I liked it. I might change my score to a 4 out
Well,
of 5.
I've decided for us, I'm going to keep it simple.
Okay.
So, do we recommend it or not recommend it? I'm going to give it a big, huge. Oh wait, they're on the wrong side. I'm Kayla. I'm going to give it a big, huge. I recommend it. Thumbs up from me.
I also recommend
And so yeah, we got 2 thumbs up. We're like the horror Siskel and Ebert here. 2 thumbs up, way up.
it.
You can almost kind of
I
like.
know, right?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So Yeah, I think we'll just keep it simple. But yeah, the writing is solid. I think his writing is getting was a lot better in this book. His writing's never been bad, but considering how the first thing I read of his was his debut novel Horror Store, which was just like, this is a fun popcorn book.
Yeah.
Where he's gone since then, like he's accomplishing things that are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think the two hardest things in this world as far as entertainment goes are telling a joke and scaring somebody. And to accomplish both very well in this novel is a feat.
Yeah.
But he just has such a great grasp on human nature. So definitely, you're supposed to hate some of the characters at the beginning, but stick with them.
Yeah. The
This
story is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the supernatural element of it is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Like when they get into Mark's flashback, I really liked. It was awful. It was horrible, but I liked that part. I was like, "Oh, this is really interesting. I want more of that." So,
some parts of it are pretty intense, and I just loved like hearing even about like their parents and stuff. Their parents' funeral is really cute.
yeah.
Just like I felt like if I related to a character as their mom, like I was like feeling a little attacked here because she's talking about how her mom did all these crazy things and she just had a big personality, and I was like, oh God, maybe that's bad. And
No, I think just when you're she's a daughter, right? Like she's easily embarrassed. Like that's your job as a daughter. I'm sure you felt that way about your mom
I asked my
several
son that a lot. Like,
Yeah.
do I embarrass you? And I think I just got really lucky because I can.
Yeah.
I should totally be embarrassing, but my son's
I
pretty
think
cool.
it's fun to be embarrassing sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I love
hard to
to
embarrass my kid.
say things the wrong way for Nehemiah to make him embarrassed and angry. Like that's my favorite.
My mom, I think the funniest one, I had a bunch of friends over for a Halloween party, and it was like all of my friends, so four people came over, and one of my friends was taking off his sweater, and it pulled up his shirt underneath, so you could see his like bare belly, and my mom came downstairs and pointed and goes, "Nakey, nakey, nakey." I heard that for the rest of high school and never tried to throw another party. Never had any like friends over that were not like my best friends again. I even got in because
I'd be
my
horrified.
they were my debate club friends.
Yeah.
We got like random awards at the end of the year, and I got a certificate like most likely to have a mom that's because shouts nakey, nakey, nakey.
Nakey, nakey.
Oh my gosh, she tried to touch his belly.
Mom.
Okay, I was mortified.
Mom.
I was mortified.
Yeah. So silly. I mean, we all do embarrassing things as parents. Like it's you
But
have to.
now I think just, I think it's just cool that my mom is funny and has a bright personality and, that I have a memory. But, that's what I like about this book is even the small characters, they're so multifaceted. Like one of the characters that I was truly I was so angry at was her aunt who keeps this secret that is going to result in someone dying.
Yeah.
And you're just like, help her.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Tell her what's going on.
It doesn't matter anymore.
We talked a little bit like how you lie to kids to protect them, but families also sometimes lie to protect people's memories. And that's what this family is doing. They have these secrets and they're not really quite telling it the way it happened.
Yeah.
And so
there's a little bit of delusion and yeah. It's frustrating, but it's real. It feels real. Like you know these people in real life. Like it's all like how people would truly behave in a situation like that.
And that's what's so cool is these characters are so Southern, and in some ways it's like fascinating just because I just think they're cool characters and I want to go visit the South and like I love their family and it's so different from mine. And then in other ways like these are real people and I know these people. I have these people in my life.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really
So
awesome.
good.
I wonder if what Grady Hendrix what his his background, like if he studied human behavior or anything,
I don't
because
know.
he gets it.
He must have some pretty great women in his life because every single one of his books that I have read, I haven't read them all, but even the ones I haven't read, from what I know about them, have female protagonists.
Yeah.
And sometimes I read people and I'm just like, you probably should not be telling women's stories.
Yeah.
Or men. I just feel like it's not authentic, but I've never had that experience with his books. Best Friend's Exorcism is about female friendship,
Yeah.
and he did such a great job.
Yeah.
And Final Girls is all women, and Southern
Yeah.
Book Club, it's a bunch of women.
And this book is a lot of women. There's a couple of guys, like there's Mark, there's the dad, there's the uncle, that's the attorney, there's the drunk hauler guy, there's some of the other people.
Poor junk hauler guy.
That poor junk hauler
Bless
guy.
his heart. Okay, he's the only person in this book who's completely guileless. We're just
Yes.
like, bless your heart.
He's just
They-
there to do a job, and
The brother keeps
jerking
calling him
around.
to empty the house out of trash, and then every time he gets sent away without getting paid or getting to do his job.
no job's done because Mark and Louise are fighting.
But also how he writes the little kid. You know, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times the kids in books are overly precocious, and she reads like a little kid.
Yeah, I agree.
Even just his understanding of little girls. You know, a lot of this is talking about like their mom is a little girl and Louise is a little girl. Like,
Yeah.
he must have like a lot of sisters or just awesome aunts or something. You know, like I said, he's Southern, and I'm sure a lot of this Southern family is based in his own family. But I really, really love it.
loved it
It's so good.
Yeah.
All the stars.
All the
I love
stars.
it.
I think I'll up mine to 4.
Don't be peer pressured into upping it, dude.
I'm not. I liked it. I just didn't. It didn't like hit me. You know, like the way that like She's a Haunting did. I loved that book. I really loved that book. Have you finished any other books this month?
Oh, yes, I have. Why don't you talk about what you've finished while I pull up? I keep a list on Goodreads now.
Oh, good.
Though this month I didn't do as much as I did last month,
You
which
read
was
like
a lot.
20 books last month.
Last month oh my God. Okay, here's one I did finish. So back in 2015, when my son was much younger, I got a Freddy Fazbear book because he was into Five Nights at Freddy's. And we went camping, and I read it to him, and I'm like, "This is awful. It was just written poorly, and wasn't into it, and he wasn't into it, so we never finished it." And it's kind of like a couple thing that my husband and I do. He likes me to read to him, which is crazy because I think my voice is highly annoying, but he doesn't, and bless him for that. He likes me to read to him at night, and he's like, "You know, we never did finish that Freddy Fazbear book." Oh God, this morning actually we finished it.
It's so
Finally,
silly.
and
Was it good?
it sucked. It sucked. I gave it 1 star, and he's like, "So there are more books in this series?" I'm like,
Absolutely not. Let's find something else.
"No."
I love it. I don't think I finished anything else this month. I started reading the next book that we're reading, but I also started school back up, so I'm reading a lot of textbooks.
That consumes a lot of your brain.
It does. I did really start diving into the 3rd book in the C.S. Lewis series that I'm reading, and it's getting good. I'm about 40%.
Which one is it?
It's called That Hideous Strength. It's the 3rd book in the series. It was really boring at first. They're like in a college. There's a lot of like college politics involved, and it's like written in 1945, right? So it's like older, and I don't really understand what they're talking about. Like, it didn't make any sense to me, and now like I'm in it, and it's important. The boring stuff was important, but it's very like mysterious and conspiratorial, and I like it. It obviously has.
I do like C.S. Lewis. I need to check out more of his work.
This series is very much like religion heavy. Like it's very like the fall of man kind of thing. But the way he writes, I'm not a religious person, but I love it. I love it so much. It's such a beautiful, beautiful book. And the way he writes, like in this 3rd book, his main character is a woman. Her name is Jane, and like her husband's off trying to figure out this college, and she starts having these visions, and they're like freaking her out, but she's all by herself. And I don't know, he writes her really well. Like, she wants, these people ask her to go do something, and they're like, well, make sure that you ask your husband first. She's like, my husband's permission? No, I do what I
Good
want.
for you, girl.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's growing on me.
Oh, Danny's here.
Hi, Danny.
He likes when I read to him, and he's like looking forward to the FNAF movie, which, by the way, went to
Yes.
Universal Studios. And one of the things we saw at Hollywood Horror Nights was a little bit of footage that they haven't shown yet, and I think it looks really good. We also got to see the costumes for the animatronics and stuff, so
I bet they're creepy.
I really want to see it. And, you know, my son's really looking forward to it, and Matthew Lillard's in it. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the video game. My stepson really loves it. but I really
Your
don't.
stepson's rad.
He's pretty cool. But I don't know anything about it. All I keep thinking of is that Willy's Wonderland movie, and it's probably
That movie was
a lot
awesome.
Like that. Yeah.
That movie was awesome. Okay, so what I read 6 books, including this one. So not as many as last month, so I can get through this a lot faster than last month where I needed like an hour to get through what I read. So I read Salem's Lot because there's supposed to be a new movie. I don't know if that's even happening. In fact, the book I read has a new cover. It's a tie-in to the new movie that may never come out.
Was that a pretty fast read?
Honestly, I was kind of disappointed because I think my mom said it's one of her favorites, and I know back in the 80s it was one of Stephen King's favorites. To me, it just hasn't aged very well. The main cast of characters who are going to hunt the vampires are all men. None of the women have anything interesting to do. There's just like the love interest. So I didn't think like that had aged very well. A lot of the characters are really homophobic, which is fine. They're in a small town and stuff, but I don't like how they're all saying the same thing, which that didn't read very authentic. It's the same things they're saying about women and stuff too. Maybe it's because they're in a small town, but like for me, it's just there wasn't a lot of characters I could really connect with. And I will say, as far as being scary, Salem's Lot is really scary. But yeah, your women in this are either like the perfect virginal girl or they are bitches and whores. You know, it's one of his early books. I just thought the women were not written very well. But yeah, the vampires are scary. So there's that. Yeah, even like the kids and stuff. I'm like, I did see in the new movie, the doctor character is a woman and she's black, which is good. Mix it up a little bit.
How long do you think that one took you to read?
It was an audiobook.
Oh, okay.
I think the audiobook was like 15 hours.
Well, that's not that bad.
I will say that the audiobook was read by Ron Larity, I think is his name. He did a really good job, especially because it's a bunch of white dudes. There's like 12 fucking white dudes in this book, and he gives them all different voices, so
Wow,
that's
hard to
impressive.
do.
Let's see what else. I read American Psycho, and I am permanently damaged now. I have a therapist, and this is what we're going to talk about for the rest of my life. Seriously, American Psycho, I love the movie. The amount of violence in that is like, it's like if you had an Oreo chocolate chip 4-layer cake, the amount of violence in the movie equates to one of those chocolate chips compared to the book. The book is just like, I'm hard to gross out. And there was a point where I was eating and I'm like, and now we don't eat. Now we don't do that. I was actually, even though the book was fascinating and I talked about it a lot as I was reading it, at the end of it, I actually felt this huge wave of relief to not be in Patrick Bateman's head anymore. Like, it was exhausting. And oh my God. Definitely, I highly recommend with American Psycho reading the audiobook because, I mean, it helps get in his headspace. Every single person he sees, he tells you what every article of clothing they're wearing is and where it's from. So he'll be like, you know, an Armani this or a Rolex, and Jesus, Bateman.
He's out of his mind.
Out of his effing mind. And he hurts a lot of animals.
Oh,
and he does horrible things to women. Like,
I don't like that.
oh wow,
I
it's a
probably won't read
lot.
that
It's a
one.
lot. There's a thing that happens with a rat. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm glad I read it though. I do think it is a really important book, and I do think it has a lot of important things to say.
Yeah. I
I also read, kind of adding to my splatterpunk month, I read Aaron Beauregard's Playground.
What's that one? Why are you doing these things to yourself?
A lot of people I follow on Goodreads had read it. This one is this old lady who's disgusting, makes a playground that's got like blades on the slide and all these horrible things, and she basically pays these families a lot of money to test a playground that they don't know is basically a saw trap. But what makes it truly awful is she has this guy that she kind of adopted as a little kid, and she makes him like pleasure her, and they talk about how her vagina is all gross and funky and has diseases, and he like vomits and uses the vomit as like a lube.
Oh my God, stop.
This is chapter 3.
Yuck.
I finished it just because I was at work, and like my work is enough that I can pay attention, I can listen to an audiobook, but I can't really like fiddle with the audiobook while I'm doing my job. So I'm just like, I don't have time to pick a new audiobook. We're just gonna have to push through.
That sounds awful.
So bad. So bad. Then I read Whisper, which it started off really good. It's kind of like Scream. There's a masked killer, but the writing just wasn't very good. And yes, Fairpoint Station, barf indeed.
Barf.
It was so much. It was so much. Oh, God, that wasn't even the worst part. Just so you don't read it. Just so you don't read it. At one point, when she's masturbating, her fantasy is when she was a little kid, she really wanted to, like, have sex with her mother. She saw a piece of poop her mom left in the toilet, and she uses that and rubs it on her little bits to pleasure her. It's just, I can't. I don't even like revisiting this in my brain. I hate that I've read this. Yeah. Anyway, Whisper, it started off really good. It has a good opening kill, but the writing just, I didn't think it was very good. It was okay. It's just, Yeah. Pretty forgettable characters. And then I read that Five Nights at Freddy's book, which I thought was pretty terrible. Yeah. All in all, a swing and a miss for most of the things I read. But of what I read, what I would recommend, I do recommend Salem's Lot for a creepy book. Yeah. It is a little stuck in the 70s, but if you view it as a slice of small town 70s life, you can forgive some of it. How to Sell a Haunted House is truly one of my favorite books of all time now. Love that. And American Psycho, as awful as it is, I feel like is kind of genius. So I do think it's one of those books you need to read in your lifetime. But get the audiobook.
I probably won't read that one.
It's okay.
Okay.
I can just draw you pictures of what happened.
I think I will read Salem's Lot at some point, though.
Audiobooks are great for a lot of things. Sometimes I feel like, very rarely, like, A, if the narrator's bad, I think that can ruin it. Mm-hmm. Or B, sometimes the language, you just kind of want to absorb it a little bit. Like how to... She's a Haunting was one where I was reading the audiobook. I'm like, I need to read this one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And really, where the language is part of it.
Well, like with this book, I read most of it on Kindle. And then, like, towards the end, I was like, I need to hurry and get through it. So I got it through the library, the audiobook. And it was helpful for me to really see Pumpkin a little bit better.
Cock-a-wee-wee! Cock-a-wee-wee! The narrator did a great job. I had no qualms about this. And there are also some books where I feel like you're getting a better experience by listening to the audiobook. One that I read last month was Project Hail Mary, one of my favorite books of all time. You need to read the audiobook or you're missing out. Yeah. It got nominated for an Audio Award for a good reason. You need to read the audiobook. There's no better way to read that book. World War Z by Max Brooks is another one. De-Evolution is another one. There are some books where I feel you're getting the best experience from the audiobook. So, yeah. But this one, I thought the audiobook was good. Sometimes she pronounces Louise. Louise. Hey, I tried to find this guy. Make him say cock-a-wee-wee. Cock-a-wee-wee.
I don't like it.
Hey guys, Danny's here. Look how good he looks.
He was up too high, so we.
Have you guys noticed how much weight my husband has lost? Honey, come here.
Huh.
Show off, like show him the guns and stuff.
No.
Nice, look how good he looks.
Anyways, he's feeling left out, so.
He was feeling left out. He's too scary.
Caca-wee-wee.
Caca-wee-wee.
Doesn't it sound like he's saying caca and wee-wee?
Yeah, but
it totally seems like a kid, something a kid would write. Here, you can have this puppet.
This one I think I can.
This is actually Slashy.
Yeah.
From Ash versus Army of Darkness, the TV show. So for next month, we wanted to read something very Halloween-y. Yes. So Fairpoint Station, oh my god. I feel bad even telling you guys about that. Don't read Aaron Burr.
Don't.
It's called, it's actually something I learned this month, is I didn't realize splatterpunk is a subgenre of books. Books genres are a little different than movie genres. And splatterpunk is something that's excessively violent. It'd be like the torture porn of books. And I think sometimes it serves the book well. Like in American Psycho, the whole idea of it is it's supposed to make violence feel as mundane as everything else in his damn life. And honestly, you're pretty worn out by the end of the book. And so you are like, he can do whatever he wants to a human being. And you're kind of like, you can't surprise me anymore. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to wear you out. Yeah. And so, yeah, you're kind of a genius, Bret Easton Ellis. But Playground.
Don't do it.
No. Don't read it. Don't read it. No.
Don't read it.
I read it, so y'all don't have to.
Thank you.
So for next month,
Yes.
we're going to read a book that has been on my radar and on my wish list for a really long time. I'm a little sad because it's supposed to have a movie that was supposed to come out this year.
Oh.
And it totally seems like the perfect thing to be a movie. Like, I think sometimes movies or books describe things that are so impressive visually that you're like, oh, I need to see this.
So I've started reading this book. It's very short, so
It's
I'm
a novella.
trying to wait. I'm trying to like make it last so that I don't read it and then forget what I read.
I'm actually going to read this one to Danny because
Are
it's
you?
only like 174 pages.
Yeah, the
It's
audiobook.
short.
I got the audiobook and it's like 4.5 hours long.
It's very
It's really
short. It's very Halloween. So I'm going to give you the
Very.
premise. Like, the premise is just delicious. So there's this very, very, very small town. Think Gatlin, you know, Children of the Corn small town. I feel like I have to explain all my references now because my therapist the other day didn't know who Ghostface was. So Gatlin is the town that's in Children of the Corn. If you don't know what that is, at a certain point, I don't know what to do.
Small. It's 1963,
Small corn
and it's
town.
a small corn town.
Yeah, it's Corn
Yeah,
Town.
Corn Town.
See, you're so good.
Just breaking it down.
It's a delicious
Yes.
premise. So, in this small town, nobody is allowed to leave. You are forbidden from leaving. You are born, you will die in this town. There is nothing here. Once a year, around Halloween, a giant, think like the pumpkin-headed thing from Return to Oz, a giant
Yeah.
mammoth creature with a jack-o'-lantern for a head stomps through the city.
They call him Pumpkin Boy, don't they, or something like that? It's something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And all the boys have to go and track it down. And if you catch it, you get your freedom.
Yeah.
That means you can leave. One guy, our main character, his brother caught it last year. His brother left. And so that's part of why he wants to. He wants to leave town. He wants to go. But this town has a lot of secrets. And there's a lot more to this than I think we're initially going to perceive. But it's very Halloween, very creepy.
It definitely
very
gives me
fantasy.
like Legend of Sleepy Hollow vibes.
Yeah. So you started reading it. Like, how's it so far?
Good. It's really good. It's really dark. It jumps right in. It doesn't. It's short.
What do you mean by like really dark?
Like, it feels like you're in a dark room. I don't know.
Like
That's what-
dark, like stepping on babies?
No, like dark, like Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Like
Oh,
there's
like
just,
gothic-y.
Yeah, gothic-y. That's what I mean. Yeah, there's just like this
Gothic-y.
air of something's going on, and you don't quite know what it is. Yeah, I like
I
it.
like
I
that.
like it so far.
So I'm gonna read that. I think that's a perfect October read.
I think so too.
So I'm really glad we're reading that. Our next book club stream will be the first Thursday of November. I think it's the second. I think it's the second.
I think you're probably right. Yes,
It's the day before
second.
Danny's birthday.
Ooh, snap! Look, I have it right there. Dan birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, November 2nd. So I think I'm gonna try to wait till closer to the time before I really dive in and finish the book.
Something that did really excite me about How to Sell a Haunted House was we had a lot more people joining us on the discussions. Destiny, who's a friend of mine on Goodreads, she joined us. You know, Kayla and I posted, which sometimes we don't do.
I made a point of after everything, I was like, I'm just gonna write a little thing, what am I thinking right now?
Yeah.
I was trying really hard.
Yeah, so we separate it by chapters, by quarters of the book. So, I mean, if you are part of the group and you have a better way of doing it, maybe we can do something that's a little more discussion-y. But essentially, when I get to 25% of the book, quarter of the book, I will just put, what are my thoughts? Which I think helps, because especially with that book where it changed so much, it's kind of cool to go back
Yes, I agree.
and see where you were.
Because my feelings from 24% to 30% were very different. I was like, what's happening next? And then you get into it, and then by the end of the next quarter, my feelings about everything were way different. It was definitely a roller coaster.
And we also do it that way to avoid spoilers. But I think it'd be cool, especially when we finish the book, to maybe talk more about the themes and other things about it. You just get into the meat of the book and just the book.
Yeah.
So this one's pretty short. It's a great one to start with. I think it's really fun. Halloween-y fantasy read. This is a short read, guys. It's so short. Like she said, the audiobook's only like 4 hours long.
Yeah, it's tiny.
So I think it's a great one for people to join us on.
Yes,
for
please.
their first one.
What, like, you're not wasting a lot of time. You're not losing anything.
And then in November, we've got one I think a Retro Media Man might join us
Yes,
for.
I think he ought to. I should get that on audiobook. So we're reading.
I have the audiobook.
Oh, do you?
Mm-hmm.
In November, we'll be reading episode 13 by, what's that guy's name?
Craig DeLuey. Who's really good.
Craig DeLuey. I'm excited about that one. And then in December, we'll be reading Hidden Pictures.
Also, this month, what I started reading for fun, I'm reading the sequel to a book we read earlier this year.
Oh, I saw that on your
A lot of
thing.
people said they like it even better than the first one, which the first one I thought was like a fun popcorn read. The Buffy book, One Girl in All the World. Now I'm reading, or we read it in Every Generation. Now I'm reading One Girl in All the World. But so far, yeah.
I like
so far, it's pretty good.
I like it. Yeah, I'm so.
It did take me a second because unfortunately, as much as I like that book, it is really forgettable. I started reading, I'm like, who the fuck are these people? I forgot like all the characters.
Yeah, I might read that one too one of these days. Yeah, I'm trudging through that Hideous Strength. It's heavy. And then
You finished The Toll as well.
I did finish The Toll. The Toll was great. I forgot that I finished that. That book was crazy. And by the end of it, I can't give anything away.
What was it about?
So it's about this small town in Louisiana or Georgia or something like that, where there's if you go one direction on the highway, there's 6 bridges, but if you go the other way on the highway, there's 7 bridges. And this guy and his wife, they're going to the swamps for their honeymoon or whatever. They go over that 7th bridge. This is at the very beginning. And his wife ends up missing. So he's like asking the people, like, the cops are kind of investigating, but they live in the town, and like there's something going on, and there's essentially this entity that comes back every 13 years and takes people. And it's really scary, and the characters are really cool. There's like these 2 old ladies, and they're like witchy, and they're like raising this like teenage boy. I don't know. It was really good, and the end was really cool, and I kind of want a second book. But I also want to see. I would love
to check
for
this
it.
out.
It was great. It was
It
really
kind of
fun.
sounds like Absentia. Did you see that movie by Mike Flanagan?
Mm-mm.
Where Absentia, like when you're
He could do a good job with this as an adaptation.
when you're
he would do a
declared
great
dead
job.
by Absentia, means you've been missing so long that you're basically
Oh.
presumed dead.
Yeah.
And this woman, her husband's been gone for like 10 years, and
Mhm.
he's about ready to be declared dead by Absentia, and
Mhm.
it's sad. Like the detective who's been helping look for him, they kind of have like a romantic thing going on, and then all of a sudden her husband shows up, and her life's, she kind of has grieved her husband and
Yeah.
everything, and he's skinny, and no one knows where the fuck he came from, but it has something to do with the covered tunnel, the bridge
Mhm.
near their house. And yeah, essentially it leads to like another world, and
Cool. I'll
you
try
know
to see
you
that.
have to like kind of pay a toll, so
Yeah.
to speak, and if you don't,
Cool.
if you do, like she basically left something there, and that's why they got him back, but it will also take people. So
Okay.
I don't know, Absentia is like one of the early Mike Flanagan movies. It's really good.
This is a very similar premise. But it was really good. I enjoyed listening to it. I want more. I'm gonna check out what else that author has done.
I'm gonna
I
check
can't
that
remember
out.
her name. It's
Did
like
you do the audiobook or
the audiobook. I did the
Oh,
audiobook. Yeah, it was
and you
fun.
read that with your cousin, right?
With my
That's
cousin,
cool,
yeah.
cool.
And like I think I said it last time too, the narrator sounds like Christian Slater.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I did see Christian Slater did a reading of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I found out that he performed it on like
Ooh.
Broadway, which is kind of
That's
cool because he looks like,
fun.
it kind of sounds like Jack Nicholson.
A little bit, yeah.
I've been doing a lot of audiobooks lately, and a lot of them are really fun. I was gonna. Oh yeah. Kind of also reminded me of where I grew up in Ipswich, which is a town very full of superstition. It's a place in Suffolk, England. That's where I grew up. But we do have a place there where there are 12 trees. But supposedly, if you go there right at the stroke of midnight, there are 13. However, my dad went there drunk as shit one night. He's had 24, so.
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with magic.
Yes.
So, but
Good times.
thank you for reminding me. I forgot that I finished that book.
Yeah. What I've been doing is I've been keeping a list. Like I just called it September read. I
Yeah.
just delete it when I'm done, but that way I remember. Otherwise, I forget.
Well, I have it all in my Goodreads, obviously, too, and I have a note on my phone of all the things I read, but it's been a long month. I forgot that I read it.
I'm trying to read a lot more 2023 books. I'm actually really proud of myself because I've read a lot of 2023 books this year. A lot of times at the end of the year, Goodreads does that whole thing, and I mean, there's just some things I'm just not going to read. But when it comes to horror, I kind of regret that I don't read a lot of the books until later. Later on, I'll read it because I heard it was good. This year, I feel like I've read a lot of them. I feel like I can vote for that award on Goodreads.
I think you can too.
Oh, actually, I think I scored us a gig.
A gig?
I scored us a gig. The Oscars over on Horror Addicts, the channel I'm on with my husband and our family, which is kind of a big deal, dude.
Kind of a big deal.
I think we might be presenting Best Book next year.
I love it.
What's up? What's up, Bloody Book Club?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we've read a lot of them,
We
too.
have read a lot. We need to start planning our books for 2024.
We do. So that's a good thing. Already, there are some books I'm really looking forward to.
Okay.
T. Kingfisher has a sequel to What Moves the Dead, which is kind of her retelling of the Fall of the House of Usher.
Ooh.
There's a sequel to Night's Edge,
Ooh.
which
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved
We
that.
have to read.
And then there's the third book in the Indian Lake trilogy that was My Heart is a Chainsaw. I haven't read Don't Fear the Reaper that came out this year. And then the third one comes out next year. So, yeah, already there's some pretty highly anticipated books next year.
Well, we should look at the ones that we're really looking forward to and put those ones on the calendar for sure. And then we can sprinkle a couple others in.
And then we gotta go back and pick some like classics.
classics.
And I think let us know how you guys feel about this. I kind of proposed to you, and you seemed like thought it was a pretty cool idea. We were thinking about doing maybe 2 things a month, where essentially we have a book that we've picked that we would like you guys to read with us. But we're also going to do one that's like a free-for-all challenge. So you pick your own book. You could read exactly what I'm reading or Kayla's reading. We may not even read the same one.
Yeah.
And I thought that way we could maybe find some more cool books. So maybe, maybe it'll be like, we're going to do a debut author this month. So their first book came out this month. Or maybe we'll do find a werewolf book. You could read anything, you know, and then that could be kind of fun. We could see what you guys read, and if you're reading something really neat, then we can hear about it
and add it to our TBR.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think of that?
I think it sounds great. I feel a little nervous about it because I do have school, and I just worry about. But I think I can do it. Because I'm still reading at night, and I'm getting through a lot of it.
The challenge is also more it's a fun thing to add to it. But if you don't have time to do it, that's fine too.
I think I'll give it a college try.
Yes, because she's in college now, guys.
Yes.
Nehemiah's mom goes to college.
She really does. And I'm gonna need something else other than managerial accounting to read about.
Yeah. I remember when I was in college, I got my degree in English literature, and I felt the same way. I'm just like, I already have to read a lot for school.
Yeah. But you were reading fun stuff.
Yeah,
though.
good. I was reading cool stuff.
Cool stuff. I'm not reading cool stuff. But.
Oh yeah, Danny says we're gonna bring some class to the Oscars.
Some scholarly, attitudes to the Askers.
Askers. The Askers.
The Askers. When is that?
We do it the night of the Oscars.
Is that in
so
May?
It changes. It's sometimes it's usually towards the end of February, beginning of March.
Okay.
But whatever the Oscars ends up being, the Oscars,
the true Oscars.
Yeah, whatever. We do it the same night just because it sucks. So that's what we do.
Okay, I like it.
But yeah, dude. We always have tons of presenters on there. We've had Joe Bob Briggs on there. We've had Hack the Movies on there. We've had some kind of big deal people and things on there. But yeah, March 10th, 2024.
Cool.
Bloody Book Club.
We'll be presenting.
Yes. So yeah, we'll film a little video. I feel like you and I should do a sketch or something.
We'll plan it. I love it.
We're just gonna be great.
Yeah.
All the book things.
All the book things.
All that book things. And I'm proud of us too, because now we're in October. You know, this is fall.
I know. So I don't remember what your goal was, but my goal was to read 20 books this year, and by the end of the year I will have 22. If I finish,
I think you're gonna have more than what you planned.
If I finish that Hideous Strength, it'll be at 22. If I don't finish it, I'll be at 20.
You're gonna finish it.
We'll see.
At
It's
the
a lot.
beginning of the year, I originally had 12 books. I just wanted to read one damn book a month, and then I changed it to 24 because I was reading more. But I finished that one. I'm like 12 books ahead of schedule.
Yeah. I will
So-
definitely meet my goal this year, and that feels really good because last year I only read 2 books.
I read like 40 books this year. Granted, some of them were kind of short.
It doesn't matter. It still counts.
Yeah,
I feel like
it
those
counts.
little ones like give you the momentum, you know?
Yeah.
And little books can be meaningful too.
And I've also read some like honker, like
Yeah.
freaking big books, like Fairy Tale.
Fairy Tale was so big.
So
I
big.
loved that book though. I
was
loved that
good.
book so much. I can't wait to watch it.
That's gonna be really, really cool.
I want it to be like a mini series.
But yeah, at the beginning of this year, we were like,
Yeah.
we want to read more. And look at us. We've read all these books, and we've managed to do Bloody Book Club every month. So hopefully you guys will read this month's book with us,
Yes.
Dark Harvest by
Harvest.
Norman Partridge. If you join us over on the Goodreads page, you can be a part of the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
You can also see what we're reading this month and what we're reading for the next 2 months, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you go on Goodreads, you can also get links to where you can buy the book and stuff. So, yeah. And also, never forget about your
Never
library.
forget about. I've gotten a lot of books through the library this year. A
Mhm.
lot. There was a couple that weren't available, like in Nightfall. I couldn't get on there. It was like a brand new book, and she's like a pretty new author too. I think was part of the deal, but almost everything I was able to get through the library.
Yeah, and you get them through like Overdrive, right?
Libby and Hoopla are what
Yeah.
are libraries, but one of them is the same as Overdrive. I
Mhm.
don't know which one
I think
it is,
it's
but
Libby.
I think so too. But yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, and you know, just if you really want to read the book and you cannot find it, or you don't have the money to get, like, let me know. I will figure out. Amazon lets you lend books to people
Yeah.
and stuff. So a lot
Yeah,
of times I
there's a
have them
way.
on Amazon.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we would love for you guys to join us, and I think this one's gonna be really, really cool. And eventually, that movie's gonna get made, and you will have seen it. So
Yeah, I love that. I think
And-
that's so fun.
yeah,
We were talking about because the cabin at the end of the world, don't knock at the cabin, whatever the hell the movie's called, is out on like Netflix or HBO now, and I was like, we need to rewatch it because I hated it so much when we watched it, because coming fresh off of the book that way and then going to see it, I was like, is all I could think about. So I'm excited to watch it again, and so I'm
I
excited
did-
for some of the books that we finished that will have movies coming out later. I'll be excited to
I
revisit
watched
them.
it because I watched it. I tried to watch it with my mom and my brother, and then my mom fell asleep, and then I had to watch it the next day with my mom. But I thought the movie was really good.
Yeah,
I like the book better. But I think the book has a lot more meaning.
Yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't want to watch that book as a movie.
It would be too hard.
It would be too much. But obviously the movie just didn't hit as hard, and we went to see it the day after, or like 2 days after I finished it, like
Yeah.
hot on its heels, and I was still like reeling.
And I think
so-
we'll probably do like a bonus stream maybe
Mhm.
in December where we talk about everything we've read this year, like our best picks
Yeah.
of the year, our best 2023 picks,
yeah.
what we're excited about next year. I mean,
Yeah.
because I can't believe we're like towards the end of the year. Like we're so accomplished. We're like people who read regularly now.
Yeah,
So
we're book people.
we're bug people.
Look
It's
at
so rad.
us. Look at us.
Super cool. So
Yeah.
I'm really proud of us for that, and I think we're gonna keep it going, and hopefully we'll just build some momentum. Like this month was cool. We had some more people joining us
Yeah, that
on
was really fun.
Goodreads. So
It's fun to see the other people in it, like other
Yeah.
people doing part of the comments, even just because it is social media, like seeing like the feed, like being other people's friends and seeing what other people are reading. I like that part a lot.
I like that a lot too.
Yeah.
A lot of the books I find that I want to read, it's
Mhm.
because people I'm following on Goodreads are reading it
There
and
was
they're
one that
enjoying
you
it.
added to your list that you wanted to read, and I was like, oh, that looks really good, and I added it to mine.
I've been adding a lot lately.
You have been adding a lot. Lately.
Like how people window shop, I've been kind of doing that in Goodreads with books. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I think I have so many books on my to read list. Like,
Same. Hundreds.
yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited about books again. So I feel like we've gotten a lot done this year.
Me too. I like it.
So proud of us.
So proud of us. Well,
I
then
love that for us.
read Dark Harvest with us. And I don't have anything else to say.
I don't have anything else to say either. We will see you guys next month, November 2nd. And until we meet again,
Blessed be.
blessed be.